the American people still have questions about it. And I think
I
that
don't think
this
they do, Jim.
moment, this Access Hollywood moment, was a
Jim, I
sign of
don't think
things
they
to
do.
come. Yeah.
Jim, I don't think anyone has questions about it anymore. It's been dealt with, Jim. It was 9 years ago. 9.
Yeah.
And he has lost.
Ex-CNN reporter and current justice warrior or algorithm whipper Jim Acosta lured me in with candy and compliments, and then I got accosted. I've thought about it for a few days, and we'll respond right here, right now. It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by our friends at LA Golf. Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Great time. You know it. All right, we're live on TuneIn and YouTube. Before we welcome digital, an unbelievable author and fantastic person, Kat Rosenfield, who's written some amazing things today. I can't wait to talk to her. Especially, should Brigitte Macron have to show her genitals to prove that she is not a man? I mean, oh my God. A few days ago, though, I got accosted. It's taken me the weekend to heal. I was told by an important woman at Substack, if you want to promote your new Substack channel and maximize your launch, you should appear on some established ones. Makes sense, right? It's kind of how podcasting goes. If you want to be, build your podcast, get on other podcasts that are good. I was connected rather quickly with Jim Acosta, the ex-CNN White House correspondent turned independent Substack editorialist. Naturally at home with confrontation, Jim had sort of made a name for himself in the resistance, belligerently taking on Trump at every term, any chance he got during the first administration.
Yes, Jim Acosta.
There's a lot of Department of Homeland Security data out there that shows border crossings at a near record low.
That shows
undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels. That shows undocumented criminals, undocumented immigrants committing crime at lower levels than native-born Americans. What do you say to
you don't really believe that stat? Do you really believe that? Take a look at our federal prisons.
I believe in facts.
You get the point. Jim loves confrontation. So, yeah, like I said, the very nice liaison at Substack set me up to cross-promote my just-launched Substack channel with Jim and his 312,000 subscribers, just over 10,000 who are paying. Jim probably makes close to, $80,000 a month providing his service. And you know the old expression, you get what you pay for. I'm pretty sure these people, don't come to Jim for nuance of any kind. They hate Trump with a passion, and they count on Jim to feed that fury. The Jim Acosta Show is an echo chamber. Look, I could make a lot more money quickly by picking one side of Trump or the other and attacking the enemy from that position. Megyn, Tucker, Benny Johnson, they all make a lot of money railing away from the right. And to be fair, they're, reticent mostly to criticize Trump even when he rambles at the UN like a drunk man at a bar. Your countries are going to hell. Climate change is the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world. Windmills are pathetic. I've ended 7 wars. He won't let that go. The echo chambers of America are where the dough is. But, Jim Acosta is not a poser. He's as left as AOC. So when it comes to perceived women's issues and outrage, he basically identifies as one. Jim has definitely poured oil in the wiper fluid tank at least twice. He's the anti-man. But I took a chance that he would be welcoming to me on his platform because the Substack woman said he was great. And he was excited to have me. And since he was, albeit without terrible fanfare, pushed out of his job too, I said, you know what? I bet Jim Acosta is actually probably a nice guy. I have a ton of liberal friends. I live in L.A. I would have very few friends if I didn't. So we set the date. What took place was a Jim Acosta interrogation. Exactly 9 years after NBC News leaked to the Wall Street Journal what was clearly the most promising October surprise in presidential history, the Access Hollywood bus tape. Jim Acosta felt he needed to attack me over it. It's raw meat for his band of liberal followers. It's also deeply painful for me. I've done extensive work, a lot of work, psychologically, emotionally, including a stint in the Hoffman Institute, years of therapy, EMDR, a recent psilocybin journey to heal what almost killed me. To paraphrase from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, it's through exceptionally difficult external situations which gives man the opportunity to grow spiritually beyond himself. I've done a shit ton of work to put myself back together, and not because there was anything wrong with me to start. My resolve after the psilocybin journey was to keep both feet in the future, not one in the future and one in the past. My guide told me, stop telling the old stories. Live only as the future you. It was such a divine revelation. I felt God finally guiding me to that glorious place where all the pain makes sense. I wasn't expecting the serpent so soon. When I asked Jim Acosta 2.5 hours before the interview what the topics were, he replied, hey, I think Kimmel is the big focus. First Amendment issues under Trump, these stations refusing to air Kimmel, the new FCC guy. Also, I'm kind of interested in Apple pulling this Jessica Chastain show. Well, turns out that Jim wasn't interested at all in Jessica Chastain. She never got a mention. And then he added a short while later, independent media and your new venture on Substack too. Oh, good. He was, there it is. The reason for me coming on, a little plug for my startup channel. Great. Thank you, Jim. That's nice. And then an hour before we do the interview, he sends one more. And again, we should talk about the AH tape a little. Like I haven't talked about that enough? Do you think when Jim Acosta gets Bill Clinton on his live Substack show, he will text him an afterthought like, and we should talk about Monica Lewinsky a little? I don't think so. So, I replied to Jim, what tape? You can ask anything you want. My psilocybin journey guide gave me homework after my recent journey, though. 2 feet firmly planted in the future. Stop telling the same old stories. They deplete from you and keep you from becoming the future you. So that may be my answer, but, we'll see, Jim. Well, Jim Acosta went after me as if I was a child predator. We began with Kimmel, which eased us in, Epstein for a minute, and then finally the real reason that he invited me on. It became apparent. The Access Hollywood bus tape of 20 years ago, filmed in 2005, weaponized in 2016 to take Trump out, was the only reason he brought me on. I was a sacrificial lamb, there to be interrogated, castigated, humiliated in front of his Trump-detesting cabal of left-wing subscribers. Talk about the October surprise. Jim kept using words like, well, people really want the answers to this. And what would you say to these women who are still... Here you go.
I would be remiss. I would be ignoring the elephant in the room if I didn't say, Billy, you went through this. You were canceled there for a while.
Fair enough. The thing is, I wasn't canceled for speech. I was canceled for ears.
But when you think about that day and the stuff that is said on this video, and you seem to be, laughing along with what he's saying and so on. And I know you regret that. Obviously, you regret that. It's a moment that I think every American remembers. Just about every American.
Yeah, no one more than me. Jim. I try to keep 2 feet in the future.
And I'm just looking at the transcript of what he said that day. He said something about they're talking about furniture, but you don't go back and think about that and say, what the fuck was I thinking? I should have told him.
Here he goes.
Jim, I'm going to be very honest.
I should have said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or something like, who grabs women by the pussy and brags about it?
Because, Jim, there is no way on God's green earth I can take a human being seriously when they're saying that. Not one as boorish as this.
And does that explain why you were, so does that explain why you were laughing along, why you were kind of, I don't know if
because you want to get to the
right
next
word,
thing.
but
Jim,
yeah.
And
I'm sure there are women who will never think that is true.
Okay, take that smug bastard off the screen. Jim Acosta invented a mandate so he could exploit me for his base. Simple. He served his most ardent fan. And making an enemy out of me is a small cost. In his mind, that I didn't take a moral stand 20 years ago, as the world expects the new co-host of Access Hollywood to do, because what could be a higher position of moral authority than co-host of Access Hollywood? I was just as bad as the man who did all the talking. And what? Had gotten away with it? Jim, when your fellow liberal elitist CNN colleague was caught pleasuring himself to a woman on a work Zoom call, did you speak up on behalf of those women you defend so righteously? Or, since I've never seen your show, did you take that person, who I'll leave nameless for his own sake, did you, rake him over the coals for what he did to a colleague, as he pinned in the gallery of his Zoom call? I lost my job, my new home, my ability to earn a living in my beloved chosen field for 3 years. I went through a pretty deep depression, Jim, suicidal ideation, survived a pretty relentless public shaming beatdown for something someone else said. Because the media establishment was controlled by left-wing lunatics like you. Then, not now. I pushed back against Jim and unearthed his motive.
I don't know, Jim, I love you. Yeah. Jim, I love you, and I know you're doing your job, because I can see the comments rolling in there, and they're like, Jim, you got to hold him account. You got to do it. But, Jim, if you and I were offline right now, I don't think you'd be going too hard at me, because I think it was a shit situation to be in. A very shitty situation to be in. I don't choose.
So Jim's producer, Matt, nice young guy. He texted me after the awkward exchange between me and Jim, and he said, "You may not want to hear it, but we really do appreciate you coming on. Thank you. You handled it really well. And good luck with your Substack." Handled it well? Sounds like he's had to follow up with abused guests in the past, the poor guy. Am I the naive one? I've never listened to Jim's show before. Should I have known he was going to ambush me? The kid felt badly. He's young. He still has a soul. We pray for him. But not a word from Jim. Not a thanks. Not an attempted, hey, people really loved you. No. Like the man he loathes so viscerally, he moved on me like a bitch and moved on. Here's the point and why it matters to all of us. Jim Acosta is deepening the American political divide, which the majority of us, I think, would like to see heal a little bit, right? The algorithms whip up from the internet all the hate and all the anger, and all of a sudden these fringe people get to control everything that we see, hear, and hopefully they get us to adopt it and believe it ourselves. They're feeding these little corners. And I guarantee you 80% of the material that you read on Twitter is provided by about 10% of people on Twitter. It's a very loud minority. So, Jim's not Chris Cuomo, who left CNN and embraced an independent spirit on News Nation because he knew both parties had problems and neither has all the answers. Cuomo was fed up with the narrative that controlled CNN. Jim Acosta is maxing those subs by pandering to his loyal following. He's not interested in changing minds. He's busy harvesting cash from unchanged minds. Again, he's more like Trump than he would admit. I went to church yesterday with my youngest of 3 daughters, and the sermon was about having a softer heart. My daughter convinced me to soften my position even on loathsome Jim, which, believe it or not, I have. She said I should feel sorry for him. Why? She's right, though. That attack, and frankly, Jim himself, means nothing. Even though a pompous, preachy prick like him, who sees the world through a black and white lens, unloads his pain and frustration on me, does not mean my gaze turns from you, dear Lord. Pray with me, Father. Help me disregard Jim Acosta's selective outrage. It's for you to sort out. Look, I went into that interview assuming I was being welcomed to Substack by one of its more prolific creators. Jim went in with different plans. So, he'll be redeemed, perhaps, right? We hope that he sees humanity in people, embraces their flaws, helps them heal when their hearts are hurt. That's what we want to do out there. Jim wants to whip the algorithm. Now, since Jim never got around to it, let me say it. Please check out my new Substack page at billybush.substack.com. There you go. He forgot to give me the plug. Coming up, should the First Lady of France, Brigitte Macron, have to pull down her capris to show an American jury that she's not a man? How humiliating. Is it ever worth it to defend yourself on the internet? It definitely doesn't set you totally free. The cat's out of the bag in a second. I can't wait to talk to Kat Rosenfield. But right now, word about my friends at Venbrook Insurance. Jeffrey Lang from Venbrook's supply chain insurance team nailed it with that line. Every business depends on suppliers, whether it's parts, packaging, raw materials, or tech. If something goes wrong upstream or down the line, it can impact your bottom line. Natural disasters, political unrest, or even cyber attacks can hit when you least expect it. That's why Venbrook's supply chain insurance goes beyond traditional business interruption coverage, so your business doesn't stall out when the world shifts. Set up a consultation with their risk experts today. Venbrook is all about helping businesses put the right coverage behind them so they can take bold steps forward. That's why their tagline is boldly go forward. You can book a free consultation at venbrook.com/hotmics and tell them Billy sent you. Here we go. Let's take a few comments here before we move on from that last little segment right there. Sarah Paul says, nothing but class, BB. I was impressed. I was so impressed how you responded with ease and confidence. You taught everyone an important lesson. Big fan right here. Thank you. That interview just made him look bad, not you. Janine says, I was so angry listening as I was leaving church yesterday. Oh, she listened to the one that he put up, and I had to pull over and scream. So much for a peaceful relationship with everyone. The thing is, Jim's people are all in the echo chamber. To them, this is great. This is relief because they're so damn frustrated over the last several years that you know who's gotten away with it. Well, then he's gotten away with it so hard. Hit Billy Bush again. One more time. Hit him for us, Jim. And the coward does. But everyone knows what you are. Okay, you're watching and listening to Hot Mics with Billy Bush, brought to you by LA Golf. My guest right now is Kat Rosenfield. She just wrote an article titled, Should Brigitte Macron Have to Say I'm Not a Man? And she wrote it for the Free Press, which I am a loyal subscriber to. Kat, last time we spoke, your cat was in the house with you. Wow. Still there?
Yeah, well, you asked for this, and here he is.
Oh, my God. That's a handsome cat. I got to say that.
He's a pretty beautiful boy.
Kat, you're amazing. I think you're such a fantastic writer, and I think you're bold because you write about the internet, you write about internet culture, all the shit that's out there, which means you, open yourself up to get hit. You've been attacked kind of a lot, haven't you? You've been targeted for cancellation. The Democrats came at you for calling for saying he was asleep in his bowl of gruel or something, and MAGA came for you too. And how do you do it?
I don't know. It might be a fetish. It might be masochism, or it's that I've learned not to care about the opinions of silly people that I don't know on the internet. But it is hard sometimes.
Oh my God! Well, so recently, what you wrote in this article, which I every time you write when I stop. Recently, you were targeted for racism by the media elite for not praising the latest work of Ta-Nehisi Coates, who, of course, is a wonderful writer and a wonderful thinker. But you managed to say, I think he missed on this one.
It's funny. This tweet came across my timeline, or I guess we call it X now. I don't know what do you call the posts on X? Anyway, somebody had screen capped his latest essay from Vanity Fair, which I do think he probably wrote in a bit of a hurry. It's not his best work. They'd screen capped a little piece of it that was sort of unexceptional, just not great prose, and had written, "Man, to write like this," in this sort of reverent way, which struck me as funny, just the juxtaposition of it. And so I quote tweeted it with a little bit of, absurdist Twitter humor. I said, "Man, to write like this." And my screen cap was of the rap from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, circa 2001 Kevin Smith movie.
Oh, yeah.
judging by your reaction, I think you get the cultural reference. I think I overestimated how recognizable it would be. And it's probably too profane to repeat on your YouTube channel. But yeah, so I did this. I was getting on an airplane. I did this over while drinking a surprisingly good airport latte in O'Hare, and then didn't think much of it until several people decided that, even obliquely suggesting that Ta-Nehisi Coates might have been, in this case, slightly overrated was an act of virulent racism, which I still can't quite parse. But that was my latest trip to the mines of being the main character online.
And then another sort of fancy writer, Hamilton Kane, announced he was privy to the real scoop and said online, "Oh my God, I'm friends with her editor. I know her mother's publisher. Oh my God. Dang, the stories I've heard about Kat." And then you did what most people won't do because they don't have the balls. You fired back right at this guy and said, "Oh yeah? Tell me the worst thing I've done. Tell me. Go ahead. Put it out there." He unfollowed you. He blocked you. He took down the post. Shut right down because wasn't expecting you to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, and I think he just got a little over his skis. Facially, it was a very interesting claim to say that it was my mother's best friend, that my mother's best friend had told him all kinds of stories about how racist I was, which just seemed a little bit hard to believe. But I was eager to hear the stories if they existed. But this is the thing about these pylons that, people get drunk by just having third-degree proximity to somebody who's being dragged online.
Yeah.
And they get so excited at feeling like an insider and at being able to participate in some way. And so they go online and make potentially legally actionable defamatory claims about a total stranger. And this is the world we live in now.
Does it hurt? One of the great points you make is it doesn't matter sometimes if you defend yourself or not because you're addressing it, because you're getting in there. Sometimes there's something sticks to you no matter what. So no one really, you can exonerate yourself. It never happened. Dude, took down his post and ran away. But still, there's some kind of mark on you, or there's some kind of feeling that you've been hurt, I guess.
Well, it's a drag when something like that happens, to see your family brought into it, or in this case, my close family friend who doesn't deserve to be embroiled in the stupidest internet drama of all time. But the other thing is that it's such a theft of time and energy. And I often think that this is really the point of coming after people like this. You mentioned Brigitte Macron, and
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about that in a moment. But there's this saying, it's attributed to Jean-Paul Sartre. It's a paraphrase, but the saying is that the anti-Semite doesn't accuse the Jew of stealing because he believes the Jew stole something. He does it because he enjoys seeing the Jew turn out his pockets to prove his innocence, which is to say,
Wow.
people make these allegations because they like seeing you have to respond to them.
Mm-hmm.
They like wasting your time. They like stealing your energy and your sense of peace in the world by forcing you to address these, oftentimes ridiculous accusations, which you're really between a rock and a hard place trying to decide, are you going to respond and defend yourself, which is, of course, the natural human inclination. But if you do, you sort of dignify it. And there's that saying about wrestling with a pig, you both get dirty and the pig likes it, so don't do it. So it's a difficult line to walk.
I mean, worse for Brigitte Macron, worse than being called a man. Candace Owens is saying that, not only is she a man, but she's her husband's father. Right?
Yes.
Candace is accusing her of birthing her husband Emmanuel as a son, then coming back, changing, becoming a woman, and going back and marrying her son. Like, this is crazy.
It's the kind of
it's not true.
Line I couldn't write something this convoluted and twisted. If I did, I think my editor would be like, you have to tone this down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yes, she's alleged to have stolen her. So the idea is that Brigitte was actually the sister of this male child. Brigitte died, and the male child, her brother, took her identity. But before doing this, he fathered Emmanuel Macron and then transitioned and then married the son that he fathered. And if you're having a hard time keeping track of that, me too.
Holy. I mean, what a great movie that would be. I mean, it would be an amazing movie. But this is alleged to be true in a 6-part series by Candace Owens. And now the First Lady of France is going to come to America or send photos to an American jury to prove photographic evidence that she is, in fact, a woman. She's going to show her genitals to a jury?
I'm not sure that she's going to show her genitals. And one of the
what
reasons
other way
why
is photographic evidence? I mean, there's only one thing that says, no?
Well,
what am I missing?
I
I'm
mean,
missing something.
I think that if she were to just show naked photos of herself, people would say, well, she had surgery. So I believe the photos she's going to be submitting are more of a medical nature. It's going to be images from her pregnancy, images of her nursing her children. I'm not super well versed in exactly what's happening in this court case, though. So this is me saying what I've heard and what I think is true, but I'm not certain.
So how does this end? Do you imagine, and now you and I are going to riff like, a couple of two-bit lawyers here, but I mean, unless Candace Owens must have factored in, I'll probably lose the case, but so what? It was worth the publicity. We got a whole big thing out of it, and I can say it was a sham trial, the whole thing. But is this about building the business? Or, I mean, the only way that this ends is that she gets hit with a massive tens of millions of dollars and has to pay up, right? Or else people will continue this. This is going to be a watershed moment.
But the problem is, I think that whatever fines Candace Owens incurs if she loses this lawsuit, she will have no trouble paying. And more importantly, who will be satisfied by this? The damage will be done. Anybody who enjoyed believing this insane conspiracy theory will continue to believe it because it's fun, because the truth doesn't matter. And Brigitte Macron will have achieved maybe the satisfaction of having it legally affirmed that the truth matters, but it seems sort of like cold comfort given how invasive and time-consuming and soul-crushing the process of proving this negative.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any past between them or something like that. I wonder why would you go after? I know this began with 2 conspiracy theorists in France. It's not like, Candace came out of nowhere with this. This was disproven years ago when someone else tried to bring it up. I forgot the journalist or the columnist, whoever it was, that person's name. But Candace picked it up and turned it into a series and thought this is going to be fantastical storytelling and riveting. But now it's going to court, so she must feel totally safe, like it's all going to be worth it. And I wonder what this does for the psychology of Brigitte Macron.
It can't be easy.
Humiliating.
I've struggled to really comprehend all of this. I don't like trying to model the interiority of whatever is going on in Candace Owens's head. It seems like a scary place to me. But I do feel for Brigitte Macron. I think it's awful, and I think that it says something kind of awful about the broader culture, that you can be the First Lady of France and you can still have your time wasted in this way by a person fabricating bizarre and terrible rumors about you on the other side of the world.
Nita says this is so unfair to her. Candace did terrible damage to a fellow woman. And then Written Dreams, another person comments, Candace comes with receipts for what she is saying. She comes with receipts. That's the big word today, receipts. I know I've seen them, but I don't find them to be overly convincing on this one. I just think that it feels to me in my heart, like she said, this is worth it. A shot at Brigitte Macron on this particular topic is worth it. It's just business. So, but anyway, there's so many great examples in there. You talk about Kate Middleton, and she was forced to come out because the machine just kept going after her, and finally she had to come out and say it's cancer. Barry Weiss, your boss, the great editor-in-chief of the Free Press. There's all kinds of people online saying that she's a Mossad agent, and she sat down with the head of Israeli Secret Service. And he's like, you are absolutely not a Mossad agent now, or nor have you ever been. And she's like, yeah, well, it's going to do very little to quell those people who want to believe it.
Yeah, it's true. Nobody is going to be satisfied by that who was enjoying the theorizing to the contrary.
Well, it's such a great article. It's such a great point. It's so important for, listen, it's just for all of us to just don't buy this shit. Make sure you're spending enough time outside. Where should people, I like to follow on the Free Press, but you do Substack too, right? And some...
I'm the co-host of the Feminine Chaos. I cannot talk. Feminine Chaos podcast on Substack, which I recorded an episode of today with Phoebe Maltzbobby, and journalist Katie Herzog was our special guest. And otherwise, you can find me on the website formerly known as Twitter, where I may or may not be getting accused of racism for making Jay and Silent Bob references.
God, I love it. I mean, I hope you're as thick-skinned as you come off. Maybe you cry like crazy when in the dark corners at times.
I have a special closet in my house just for this. It's soundproof. Can I mention one more thing, actually,
Please.
Since I'm with you?
Yeah.
My next novel it's officially up for pre-sale. It's called How to Survive in the Woods. It comes out March 10th, 2026. So if you want to get on the ball and read about murder in the middle of the wilderness, you can pre-order it now.
God, imagine. You do it all. What's the cat's name again?
That's Rasputin. He left. He was mad that he didn't get enough camera time. So
you said he was going to turn around and show us his butthole. I'm glad he didn't, because that's just
I
prevented
nobody wants to see that. I saved your life.
Kat Rosenfield, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Coming up, anyone else a little embarrassed by the crowd at the Ryder Cup? Oh, my God, attacking the European players like they were violent illegals or something. And the woman that they fired, I mean, I got a little secret for you. That was almost me. You hired the wrong MC, maybe. First, let's talk Prize Picks for a second. It's my favorite place to win money. Yesterday turned out kind of well for me, right? This is the way it goes, though, okay? This is last week. This is when I won. I don't always win, but I won with Jared Goff over 7.5 completions. Look at that. I got Derrick Henry, running right there for at least one touchdown. And I got Jahmyr Gibbs running for 55.5. I took more than that, and I won on all fronts right there. That's nice, right? You get a little payout. Let's take a look at Prize Picks and the lineup for tonight's Monday Night Football. The Jets versus the Dolphins. Very simple here. It's just two easy picks. Tua Tagovailoa. What is he going to do? 235 yards passing. Will he do it? He averages about 190 per game. I'm going to say less. I got a choice to go more or less than 235.5. I'm going to say less this time. And Justin Fields for the New York Jets. Will he throw for more or less than 182.5? I think he'll throw for more. I think the kid's going to have a night. So those are my picks right there. It's easy, and I like easy. Find two or more players and pick more or less under their projected stats. You can play in 40 states, including California and Texas. So it's great. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup, win or lose. So just win or lose, you win. Use the promo code HOTMICS and download the app right now. So, what is going on in America, right? Political violence aside, and I don't mean that insensitively, the people are getting restless out there. Did the Philadelphia Eagles ship up their fans to Long Island for the Ryder Cup this past weekend? Sorry, Philly, but you know you guys are animals. You have a New York driver's... If you show up in a Philadelphia parking lot with a New York license plate, you're getting keyed. The Ryder Cup was crazy this weekend. The heckling. Heather McMahon, who's a comic, a comedian, kind of flirts with the game of golf, but she stepped down. She didn't even make it to Sunday. She was the first TMC. She got the crowd going and joined him in a round of F.U. Rory. Listen to this. Thank you, Rory. Okay, here's the crazy thing. That almost was me. My agent called me and said, hey, do you want to be the MC on the first tee at the Ryder Cup? And I said, oh, yeah. Well, they went with a female comedian instead of me. I lost the job to Heather, but listen, Heather got wrapped up in the moment. I don't believe in cancel culture. Don't hate on Heather. Don't send messages. She got wrapped up and she screwed up. And that's all there is to it. I'm sure she's got something to say about it. So we'll listen to what she has to say and then forgive her. But when Rory McIlroy is playing, he's on the tee box. What's going on? Already we missed the green dildos that they're throwing at NBA games and WNBA games. Now they're putting squeaky rubber ducks when he swings. I mean, you don't do that. This is golf. Somebody throws a beer on Rory McIlroy's wife, Erica. Now, Rory talked about this directly. Listen to what he said.
Erica's fine. She is a very, very strong woman. She handled everything this week with class and poise and dignity like she always has, and I love her, and we're going to have a good time celebrating tonight.
I actually had no idea that Erica had a beer thrown at her yesterday. So fair play to Erica. She didn't bring that to the team room. We didn't make that a big deal. That's news to me, that says a lot about the strength of Erica and everybody in this team. But
I was out there for 2 days with Erica McIlroy, and the amount of abuse that she received was astonishing, and the way she was out there supporting her husband and supporting her team was unbelievable, and kudos to her for that.
That's
Go on, Erica.
That's Shane Lowry right there, who they had to pair with Rory because he's such a big dude. I mean, but you can see the beer right there. That's her. That's Rory's wife right there with the straw hat. And someone just throws a beer at her. I don't know what's going on here. Look, winning, I will say this, does have a way of easing the pain. The European team, once they clinched it on Sunday, they sent Trump a social media post led by Rory McIlroy. I mean, Trump was out there. He was pulling for him, and they decided. I mean, this is very classy. And they put together this unbelievable post. They all gathered in behind Rory. It's like what do you call it? Ellen DeGeneres' Oscar selfie. It's Rory in the front, the whole team behind him, and they go after the Trumpster.
Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching Donald Trump? Are you watching Donald Trump?
You can see Trump up top. To his credit, very classy. He said, I'm watching, and congratulations. That was it. I thought that was great. But, Tom Watson spoke for a lot of people, a great American golfing legend, when he said, I'd like to congratulate Ryder Cup Europe on their victory. Your team play the first few days was sensational. More importantly, I'd like to apologize for the rude and mean-spirited behavior from our American crowd at Bethpage. As a former player, captain, and as an American, I'm ashamed of what happened. Why do you think this is? I'm wondering why is it like this? Is it the Live Tour where everybody's, going crazy and it's a big party scene and everybody's getting too drunk and overserved and all that? Is that an element of it? The PGA has made every effort to make the game more accessible, right? I will say this. What about the internet, the Instagram algorithm of dudes fighting on golf courses? I don't know how this happened, but I saw like 2 of them, and now all I get are guys like punching each other out on a golf course. I get this in my feed like all the time. And you think, does this happen a lot? America's most popular player, I don't know, is Happy Gilmore. That's like punches out Bob Barker. That's a joke. We don't actually do that on the golf course. Here's the funny thing about the whole weekend, though. Right now, as we speak, I know for a fact that Justin Thomas, Cameron Young from the U.S., And the team they played against on Saturday afternoon in a 4-ball, Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry, are on a plane together, all 4 of them, now flying back to Jupiter, Florida, where they all live within a mile of each other. So we love the accents, and we love Ireland, and we love the UK versus the US, but they all live in the same gated community in Florida. Jackie Ono in our chat section here, Jackie says, who brought the keg on the greens? It's like a college out-of-control party. No kidding. Another comment, why on earth would they do that? We need to be kind to our neighbors, not throw nastiness. What is wrong with some Americans? Julia in the chat section says, the crowd was disgusting. Classless crowd for sure. The chants and loudspeaker about Rory was so disrespectful. Disgusting behavior by Heather, but I honestly think she got caught up, and soon as she said, fuck you, Rory, F you, Rory, she went, oh God, what have I done? And never made it to Sunday. So she won't be back. But yeah, I just don't want to see that. I love the game of golf. I love how classy, it is. And it does. It teaches you a lot about character. And you can remember the old expression that golf is like bike shorts. It reveals a lot about a man. Sorry. Okay. It's really fun. All right, so how about this? It's more craziness in America. Ice Cube's bus. So Donald Trump wants to send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. There have been dozens, not thousands or hundreds, but dozens of protesters outside the ICE headquarters in Portland. Trump claims that they're Antifa, who he's, declared as a domestic terror organization. The protesters set fire to an ICE bus. Can you believe? Sadly, it ended up belonging to Ice Cube, the rapper. Cube is okay, other than a torched bus for which we assume he has insurance. Cube posted up, it wasn't my bus. It was a crew bus parked in front of the hotel. Everybody was upstairs sleeping. Nobody hurt. No equipment changed. Da. Can you believe it? Poor Ice Cube. Guy's my neighbor. Anyway, here we go. In New York, Andrew Cuomo's odds of actually winning the mayoral race in New York City as an independent just went up. Eric Adams, the sitting mayor, dropped out today, so they won't split the votes against the 33-year-old Zoran Mamdani. This is how pissed off people are. A socialist whose parents are rich Hollywood executives, or mom is, dad's a Columbia professor, who wants Russian grocery stores, basically. Socialist grocery stores on every corner, free childcare, frozen rent everywhere, all the promises he'll never be able to deliver on his, he's about to run away with it, the whole thing. And now people who swore they'd drink water out of the East River before they'd vote for Andrew Cuomo are going to vote for Andrew Cuomo, including everyone I know, to save the world's financial market from assured implosion. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see a lot of Republicans who swore to God they'd never vote for Andrew Cuomo actually do it, and they may stave off a disaster here. Bad Bunny is going to headline the Super Bowl halftime show. So much for not performing in the U.S. In protest of ICE deportations of illegal immigrants. He will be performing in San Francisco. I can't risk the safety of my fans like that. That was the reason he gave for not performing in the U.S. until this opportunity came along. Perhaps he's reasoned the only people inside that building are so rich and likely legal, so, all good. Number one streamer on Spotify between 2020 and 2022 is Bad Bunny. He's a big deal. Every old person says, who the hell is Bad Bunny? Well, until Taylor Swift knocked him out, nobody listened to more on Spotify than him. I wonder what dress he'll wear when he performs. Jesus, guy. If I had to pick, I like the one on the left. It's sort of elegant. Oh, my God. Wednesday, we are looking forward to a very special episode of Hot Mics. we are going to enjoy the company of a guy that has built himself a massive YouTube following. I don't know how he did it. He's supposed to be our guest today, but he ran into a little trouble down at Turning Point USA. His name is Tim Pool. So we look forward to welcoming Tim on Wednesday. Hot Mics brought to you by LA Golf. Take your swing to the next level with LA Golf's cutting-edge technology. Visit lagolf.com and upgrade your game. You can always listen to us exclusively on TuneIn. We're back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for Morning Bikes. Just a really light little chat. We go through the paper together. Heavy on the chat section. Hope you can join us. Bye-bye. Hot Mics.